This video is brought to you by Granger Motors, where you can save up to $1,300 on a factory extended warranty on your new Ford or Ram, Jeep, Chrysler vehicle.
Hey guys, we got a super cool one for you today because we're here with Brian. That's his truck channel.
Yes, sir. Good to see you.
Guys, I've been a fan of their channel for a long time. Do some really cool testing down in the heart of truck country.
That's what we do. That's why we're a truck channel. So.
Yeah, and they're up here in Colorado doing some cool stuff at the Overland Expo, but they brought along a really cool Ranger, a super cool Polaris, and I thought it'd be cool to talk to the experts and see what their long-term ownership has been like on this truck.
Well, so far it's pretty young. We've had for about a month, but we've had experience with Rangers before. Y'all have had one before, right?
Yep.
So y'all had, what year was yours? 22, I believe?
Yep.
So the platform is similar,
Yep.
but the bodywork's all new, as you know with your Raptor as well. So if y'all watch our channel at all, we've built some trucks before. We've had a Gladiator before. We've had a Tacoma that we did a lot of work with. And we got this Ranger because our fans were asking for it. And we said, man, this is kind of boring. We need to do something with it. So we just couldn't help it. We agreed not to build anything on it. But that was 4 weeks ago, and now we're here. So that's what we're dealing with at the moment.
So walk me through kind of the buying process and how that went. Like, was it hard finding this truck? Were you guys looking for a specific trim?
We were looking, so we had requirements. So it had to be diff lock no matter what.
Okay.
But it could have been XL. We didn't have to have an FX4 or anything like that. And our goal was also to, because we like to come at an angle of how cheaply can you get into something? Because, you know, as you know, everything's just too expensive these days. And we get the comment all the time. So showing up with a $60,000, $70,000 rig, you know, we get press cars all the time that are that way. So if we're going to own it, we want to try and come at an angle that's lower. So coming out of the Tacoma that was about $47,000, we came across this. They were just hitting DFW at the time, our area, and it's 42.5 was MSRP.
Okay.
But we didn't get a deal with them. This is just their advertised price. It was a canceled order, and he's like, "Hey, we need it out by the end of the month. We'll do it for 38."
Wow.
I was like, done, let's go.
Wow,
and so we traded the Tacoma in, and it worked out great, but it was an FX4 XLT trim.
Okay.
So we ended up getting a higher trim than we were looking for, but it was about the same price as the MSRP of the XL with a locker.
How long was the process between when you decided you want a Ranger to trying to find one to taking delivery? Was that pretty quick?
It was probably about, I'm going to yell at my co-host off camera, Craig, about 3 or 4 weeks, you think?
What?
Or the process between deciding to get one and getting one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty quick. We have a chat with each other, and we're like, you know, we think we should do this, and next thing you know, it's here.
But it was on the lot, you weren't waiting.
It was on the lot.
Build, yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, we were looking at that route, but everything was just back ordered.
Right.
It wasn't happening. And there's the other thing too. We're like, cannot get white. Do not get white. Do not get white. And of course, you know how that goes. You know how that goes. So we decided to get the content sooner was more important than getting the blue or brighter color we wanted. So, but we worked on that. That's what part of what we've done to the truck. That's why we had to make it look cooler.
Now, this truck, I think, do you want to pop the hood?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we were talking on camera. This is the 2.3. Were you thinking about waiting for a 2.7 or?
Yes, that was debated for sure. The 2.7 is, we've driven 2.7 a lot of stuff. That Nano V6 is awesome. We all got a version of it in yours. It's a great motor. It was going to be a while. In fact, I think they're just hitting lots now. So it would have been a delay, and we just been impatient, if we're honest. That's kind of what's going on. So this is a 2.3.
Yep.
We have put on a diverter valve spacer because we just want to hear it go off. So we get a little bit of a blow-off valve sound. Because this is a 2.3 that's been used before, there are some parts available for it.
Okay.
That are out there. But other than that valve, that's it. So tuning is not available yet. The 24 ECU is locked. Not so much on the Raptors, but on the 2.3s, it's just no one has one yet.
Really?
Yeah, from what we can find at least. Yeah.
So so you couldn't take an EcoBoost Mustang tune and slap it on a Ranger. There's probably going to be some software challenges there.
The problem is the codes aren't released yet from Ford.
Gotcha.
Is the issue. So we talked to 5-Star. I know y'all worked with them before. Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, we can do that, but you need to put a 23 ECU in the truck, and it may not agree with the infotainment that this truck has.
Interesting.
So it can be done, but then all the telematics are going to be off on the truck.
So what do you think of the engine?
Well, look, we're towing. We'll talk about the Polaris in a minute. By and large, I'm really happy with it.
Okay.
And I do want to compare it to the Tacoma we came out of, the 2.4 non-hybrid.
Yeah.
I feel like this thing is not holding back as much as the Toyota in terms of pulling timing. We were experiencing the Toyota pulling timing under hot summer days in Texas, unladen, that kind of thing. So by and large, this feels like a very sorted engine. It's fine. I don't think it's a powerhouse per se, but it surprises us sometimes. It's getting the job done.
Let me take a minute and tell you about this video's sponsor, Grainger Motors, and their extended factory warranties for new Ford, Jeep, Ram, and Chrysler and Dodge vehicles. Let's face it, guys, the new cars and trucks that are coming out right now are packing even more amazing features with technology and more complexity than ever before. And because of it, an extended factory warranty is worth considering the next time you buy a brand new vehicle. Did you know that you can buy an extended factory warranty from any dealership? Yep, you can buy a new car or a pickup truck from your local dealership and buy an extended factory warranty from Grainger Motors and save an average of $1,300 off the list price. Grainger can do this because they're #1 seller of Ford Protect warranties and one of the top sellers of Mopar vehicle protection warranties in the country. So contact Grainger Motors next time you buy your new car or truck for that additional peace of mind. Just use the link in the description below.
Now you guys just did some wheel tire work on this truck, but
Yep.
before, when it was stock, what kind of fuel economy were you seeing?
We were seeing the best of 28 on our hyper run.
Okay.
But our Tacoma TRD off-road, before we did any work to it, we were seeing about 26
Okay,
on the same
interesting.
loop.
Yeah.
So it's doing a little better.
And like power, you feel it's adequate for the platform?
Yeah, it is. We felt towing up here, we could have used that V6.
Yeah,
Because we were
okay.
dealing with about 8 hours of over 100-degree heat and highway speeds with a heavier load in the back, and it definitely was high oil temps. That was
Yeah.
my concern. So actually, our issue here is the grade that we were climbing at, because we're not used to altitude. We're from Texas. It's flat. Oil temps were getting kind of high on it, and I think it was pulling power. I think it was
Interesting.
actually happening. So
Interesting, yeah. No, I mean, I think it's interesting. Like the 2.3 and the 3 liter in the Raptor kind of launched at a pretty similar time, and there was like a lot of discussion. I'm sure you saw online about like what happened to the 2.7.
was the
Where's
2.7?
that?
Are they making
Yeah.
that? Yeah, we heard a lot about that.
And now it seems like they're kind of trickling out. Do you think if you could do it again, you would have waited for that 2.7?
That's a good question. Should we have waited? Maybe.
Like if
We-
this was not for the channel and like you didn't
Oh, if it
need
was
the
for
content.
me,
Yeah, if it
yes,
was
I
your-
would have waited.
you
Yes,
would've?
yes, I
Okay.
would have. Yes, that's a great way to put that, because we're working on a YouTube operation.
Yeah, right.
We would not have is the answer, but for myself, I would have. Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I
Just
would
for
have.
that added power?
Yes, and there's one more thing I would have waited for.
Okay.
This truck does not have radar cruise control,
Oh, interesting.
and it drives me bananas on highway trips. So I would have waited for that, but I would prioritize the radar cruise control over the V6.
Okay. So walk me through what you guys have done to this truck, because it's
Okay.
looking pretty cool.
It's looking pretty cool, so I want to go through, before I get off base,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about some parts we have on here. These ditch light brackets are actually custom made by our team. One of our crew members designed this, and then one of our partners, Cali Raised LED, they manufacture Overland parts in Fort Worth, Texas.
Wow, dude, that's so cool.
And so they stamped these out about a week ago.
Oh my
and we put them
gosh.
on, and they're on here. And so we plan on doing some wheeling while we're out here. We want lights for that. So that's really cool. That'll be a product that comes out at some point. But this is a prototype. We're happy to have it. That's really cool. They also did the bed rack, which we'll show you in a minute. But
Nice.
visually, the wheels and tires on the base FX4 are kind of like, they're fine. But for off-road work, we wanted something a little more aggressive. So we decided we, again, listen to our fans, what tire we should run. We went with the Falcon Wild Peak AT 4Ws. These are the new tires. They're up from the old 3Ws, and we put Rock Tricks wheels on it. These are 17 by 9s instead of the 17 by 7.5. So a little bit better that way, and it pokes out a little more, which we're actually glad with, because the tire's a little bit wider. We went to a 265/60, which comes out to be about a 32-inch tire, 32
Yeah.
by 10.5. So
So stock suspension.
at the moment, yes.
Any rubbing or any kind of problems with these?
Yes, there is. So right here, this valance, if you're in full lock and backing up, it'll rub a little bit. Which we're at this point, the valance is just stretching around it and nothing's actually worn through. We're kind of just going to roll with it.
Okay.
So we're not too worried about it.
Because it's a pretty big size difference from the standard tire, right?
Yeah, so they're both, the standard tire is a 255 70/17, which is about a 31 and change, and this is a 32.
Yeah.
But it's wider is the other thing. It's a 10.5-inch wide tire. So.
What do you think of the new 4Ws?
You know, we haven't off-road with them yet, full transparency on that.
Yeah.
But they, on the highway drive here, compared to the factory Goodyear Wranglers, wet, dry, whatever, these are sure-footed. They are, it feels much more stable, and they are quieter on the highway than even those Wranglers were.
Cool.
So step up for sure.
Now, have you guys measured like fuel economy? What do you think the hit is going to be?
So in preliminary testing, we haven't done our official stuff.
Yeah.
I was seeing on my daily drive about 20 out of this truck beforehand, and now I'm seeing about 18.
Okay.
So, but that was before the bed rack stuff.
And then are you going to do like the speedometer calibration if that's available?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. So ForScan is an app you can use for Ford stuff, and you can update that. We just haven't had time to do it yet.
Right.
We just need to do some beeps and bops, and we'll get there.
I will say, I really like your stripe.
Thank you.
It looks
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Is that a recent update?
It's less than a week old, okay?
Okay.
So I do want to talk about this. So the whole time we had the truck, even my co-host was like, yeah, okay, I kind of missed the Tacoma. We've had that, which we still do. It's a great truck. Nothing against Tacoma. This was missing something.
Okay.
And we got this done this week, and we both went, holy heck, that's it. We're glad we got a white truck now, because this works for it, and for YouTube, and just for being silly.
Yeah.
We like it. This is actually a Ford accessory.
Is it really?
Yes.
In
so
this color combo?
the stripe decal, yeah, the decal
Yeah.
is. So it was actually from the Ford accessory catalog, and it was, I think it was about $200 for the kit. And so that's why it's spaced right. It actually comes in one piece. Or we had a shop in Salt Forest, they cut it right. But it actually has the Pierce cut of Ranger right here.
Oh, sweet.
So it's not some aftermarket goofy thing.
So
It's
this is
meant to be
actually
here.
a Ford part, huh?
Yes, absolutely.
I do have a question about this. Not to rib you a little bit, but Ford is kind of using that Toyota tricolor thing.
Absolutely. We call it ketchup and mustard, but no, we've been joking about this the whole trip. Like, look, we know they're copying them. Here's what we're telling ourselves to feel better about it. Do you remember the boxy Rangers of the early 90s?
Yes, for sure.
They had stripes too, they just didn't have good coloring, so
Yeah.
they've copied Toyota to figure that out.
No, look, personally, I think it works so well.
Yeah,
Look,
but it is a copy. There's no way around it. It is.
It's got like a really cool vintage flair.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, against the white, it works fantastic.
It makes the white work.
Yeah.
But if we had like a blue truck, this color wouldn't be right.
Yeah.
So
no,
anyway,
for sure.
we're done with that.
Brian, let's talk about the inside a little.
Sure.
So XLT. So you got some options on this truck.
We do. Sorry, it's a mess. We've been road tripping.
No,
for
you're good.
800 miles lately. So the center display, the nav screen, is higher quality than I was expecting.
Okay.
It's good resolution, that kind of stuff. The non-Raptor and non-Lariat gets a pretty weak digital cluster speedo setup. Mm-hmm. And your tachometer is a bar graph. I don't love that.
Okay.
They just Ford can try a little bit harder at that. That's all I'm thinking. Like,
Sure.
you know, that'd be nice. Other than that, it's very comfortable. I'm a taller guy. I'm tall in the torso. I have trouble fitting in smaller vehicles. And the seat gets low enough in this. I've got gobs of headroom. It doesn't feel like the highest quality material vehicle,
Okay.
but it feels durable and it feels like it's sorted out really well. The ergo is good, no complaints there. And because we have the XLT, we have a leather wrapped steering wheel.
Nice.
Which the XL does not. I'm really glad we ended up with that, because I can't stand those urethane wheels. So I'm happy with that.
I agree with that
Yeah.
completely. Yeah. And like it's not totally black. We got some white piping, which is
Yeah.
cool, and yeah, it's
You
pretty
get some
good.
contrast stitching. You've got, you know, it's just quiet on the highway. It's very, very quiet in our experience.
Do you have heated seats?
Do not have heated seats, no.
Any feature other than adaptive cruise, you're like, man, I wish XLT had.
So, no, really the adaptive
That's it,
cruise, because we don't live in Colorado. Heated seats just don't matter to us.
Yeah, good point.
They matter about 6 days a year. And it'd be nice, but like so here's our deal. Heated seats in cloth, cool. Heated seats in leather without ventilated seats, that's a problem for us.
Sure.
We have so much heat, we want ventilated seats. So I wish that was an option, honestly, if we had leather, but I'm fine with the cloth.
One thing which I am noticing, which is kind of unusual from a Ford standpoint, or actually a vehicle standpoint.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, look, this is charming, is what we call it. It's of the same era of the stripe. Okay, it works. And it's funny because, you know, like Jeep products and stuff give you this gotcha key, even though they're a remote start and they're like, here, let's go.
Yeah.
You still have to use this one. That's kind of silly, but it's fine. It has remote start. We like that. That's
Nice.
a big deal for us. Other thing I'm really happy with, I know this sounds silly. I don't want to get back outside the truck too
you're
much.
good.
The keypad.
Oh yeah,
That's
right.
so helpful. You know, we lock keys in cars all the time and go hiking and stuff like that, and it's just you just throw it in and lock it and don't worry about it. We're happy with that. It works out. It's fine.
Yeah,
no
that's
issues there.
awesome. No, I mean I think that Andre is his Colorado's over there.
Yeah.
Without cruise control.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I have to rib him every time.
We
I have
talked
an
about that.
opportunity.
We had a chat with him about that a while back.
But yeah, like we're all kind of fans of the more entry-level trucks.
Sure.
And I think I'm with you. Like I would prefer XL from a price standpoint.
Yes.
But the polyurethane steering wheels drive me up the wall.
I would have to change it. So we budgeted that. Said, hey, if we get an XL, we got to just buy the wheel.
Yeah.
I'll go nuts. It won't work.
I'm sure people are going to comment, but that just feels so cut rate when you're spending over 40 grand in some cases.
Thank you. I'm glad we're on the same page. And also, the things you touch and feel and engage with, that's got to be the most important tactile thing in the car.
Right.
And when that feels like, you know, Ziploc bag, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It's just not good.
No, for sure.
So anyways, that's pretty much that. We can talk about this if you want to.
Yeah, let's talk about the build out you got back here.
Okay, so this is the bed rack from Cali Rays LED.
That's awesome.
Yeah, look, we don't want to go unprepared, you know. We might get stuck on a toothpick, and this is going to get us out of it. We are set. We're good to go. We do have the Overland Vehicle Systems rooftop tent.
Cool.
Flips out, seats, at 3 adults or 1 me, basically. It's quite comfy. We're good with that. And wind noise is like just not an issue on this.
Nice.
You can hear it a little bit, but it's not like you just don't notice it. It's not a problem. Our previous truck, we had a roof rack with this rack set up. Mm-hmm. We went with the mid-height rack because if you do the full height, this thing's totally exposed and it becomes a sail of sorts. So we chose one that's a little bit lower, and we still have some capacity in the bed. We've got a bunch of camping gear in here just for a trip.
Yeah, oh, sweet.
Just
Look at that.
oddball stuff, our camera guy's lunch cup, obviously, and cones and whatnot, all the good stuff. But we're good to go, and it's helpful. One thing I don't like is, because we didn't spec the truck, it had some accessories. One was this plastic liner.
Okay.
Everything slides around.
Yeah.
That's not news. That's not a new thing, but
Right.
we don't prefer that. I'd almost rather not have it at all.
Do you guys have the power outlet in the
we
bed?
have we have the regular power outlet. There's no power boost on the Ranger, which, man, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
That'd be really cool.
We would like that a lot. But yeah, we have a plug in here, so it's your cigarette lighter and your wallet lit back here.
So is this a setup that you could realistically take on and off regularly, or is this like you stick it on and you just leave it on?
We have, in the past, if I'm not camping for a while, I'll take it off, because we don't live in Colorado. When we camp, it's probably seasonal in our area. So summertime, I would take it off, and fall, I'd put it on, just leave it on for the season.
Okay.
I've done it, put it on by myself. I did this last time, but it's much easier with 2 people. You can just 4 bolts and lift it off.
Nice.
So
Cool.
pretty easy. No complaints there.
So let's talk about towing. So you guys have come quite a long way with this little trailer. So what does this thing tow like?
Look, so I've towed this trailer. This is we picked this trailer up in Houston and brought it back to the house and didn't know it was there. No big deal.
Yep.
Then we put this on here. So the trailer's 700 pounds. This Polaris is about 2350 with the tent that's on it. And we had a whole debate up here about grade versus wind resistance. Mm-hmm. I feel like that tent's not helping us by any means.
Yeah, sure.
So it would do highway speeds, no problem. I say no problem until we did about 8 hours of 100 degrees with a constant grade.
Okay.
Going through New Mexico, West Texas, and all that. And I think this thing cut power quite a bit. It didn't do any lights or anything like that, but it was definitely like, hey, 80 is about it.
Wow, really?
And it was sitting in boost at about 15 to 20 pounds on the gauge the whole time.
Now this is something too, Brian, we need to clarify. It's like, for those of you watching in California, towing at 80 sounds like it's suicide, but in Texas,
no, that's just the speed limit.
It's kind of just the standard thing to do.
But we were laughing driving out here today. Everything's 55.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
like, oh, well, a roof rack and a tent making noise you're not going over 60, doesn't matter. It's no big deal.
Right.
That's a problem. Wind is a big deal for us.
So were you like on the floor at 80? Was that kind of all it had?
We had the cruise locked, and then I was like, well, is there any more there? And there isn't. So I think it was doing it on its own, pretty much. Yeah. Now, this morning, we let it cool off. We gave it an 8-hour nap. And it had all kinds of power this morning that it didn't have yesterday. So I think it was a lot of heat and a lot of towing.
Yeah.
Now, I've towed in heat before without this much weight and wind resistance, and it was no big deal.
The interesting thing is, like, do you know what the max on this spec is?
7,500.
Yeah, I mean, so you are like...
We're at 3,000 and change.
well less than half of what it can tow. So that's
not great.
Not great.
Not great.
Yeah. Do you think the tires are playing into that a little bit?
Maybe, because we effectively geared it up. We've gone from 31 to 32. We've added wind resistance with this tent and this thing. I'm a little disappointed in its towing capabilities, but it's not undoable. When we're in Texas, we don't notice that. We're not in altitude, and we're not doing that kind of climbing.
Right.
It just doesn't seem to be a problem down there.
Right.
So, but we also don't tow this thing that far. When we do towing, we're like around the area.
Sure.
So 8 hours straight was a bit much for it.
So Brian, so you, like us, drive a lot of new trucks every year. And you guys specialize in trucks, and you've driven all the mid-sized trucks. So how does the Ranger compare to the other direct competitors in the class?
Oh man, this is a loaded question in our space, and it's going to be entertaining. So the 3 of my crew, we've been debating this the whole trip here. One of us picked Tacoma out of them.
Okay.
One of us likes the GMC AT4X.
Okay.
And one of us likes the Ranger.
Okay.
I like the Ranger.
Okay.
So that's where we're at.
So what is it that makes you like this truck more than the GM Twins and the Toyota and that kind of thing?
It's something we haven't talked about at all yet, and it's the backseat functionality.
Oh yeah, you want to show that?
So I have kids. I have a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old, and so I have to tote them around sometimes. The Tacoma really struggled with that.
Yeah.
And this isn't an F-150 by any means. And look, I'm a big dude. I've got this thing all the way back, but I can put a kid in here. He's 5 years old, and he's not complaining about anything. We've had this to the Texas coast already. We've done road trips with it. it's fine. And then when you're not laden down with this trailer, I'm really happy with the powertrain. I think the 10R80 actually, or 10R60 transmission works good finally. It shifts well. And the 2.3 is plenty of power for what we're doing here. So I'm happy with the ergonomics and the usability of this back seat. That's a big deal for me.
Cool.
So,
do you like it more than the Toyota that you replaced it with?
for my use, I do.
Okay.
And my co-host debates for his use all the time.
Okay.
He's not sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, the verdict's out as a unit for Texas Truck Channel.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So what's your plan with this truck? Like, is this going to be in the fleet for a long time, or are you going to kind of move it on? What do you think?
You know, we always say we're going to keep it for a while, and then, much like you guys...
Yeah, it never happens.
You know, it never happens because you're chasing views, right? That's what we're doing.
Sure.
This could be one that we hang on to outside the show. It's potential.
Yeah.
For me, selfishly, but I say that and things may change down the road. That's the reality. But the plan is long term. We have determined that we can get the previous generation Tremor Fox shocks on this truck, and that's probably the last cherry on top for this. Because we're really happy with the way that worked on our types of trails that we had around us. So we don't have that aggressive stuff. And
Sure.
It just handled itself better. When this truck's not laden down, it's kind of choppy and bouncy.
Okay.
And so we would like to put those on here, and that's probably going to be it for us, I think.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you're not going to do like a lift or bumpers or anything like that?
Well, I say that. I spoke too soon. We have a rear bumper in the mail right now, so it's actually on the way. So
Nice.
There's more coming. And again, we're working with our partners to develop more parts for this. We've actually realized lately that Toyota has probably the best off-road community out of all the brands. And I'd like to see other brands step up with that a little more too. I feel like there's an opportunity there for people to get into their existing rigs already that are good.
Yeah.
Including GM, including Ford.
Yeah. No. I mean, I think they're leaving a lot of money on the table from
Yeah.
the aftermarket side.
Totally.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, sweet, dude. Thank you so much for coming
Thanks for
out. I
having us.
appreciate it.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
go hit some Colorado trails of this week and go have some fun out here. You're gonna have a lot of great times.
Good deal. Thanks, Tommy.